Just wanted to say if anybody was interested in further information on fly management, I did have some fact sheets and things with me today that you're welcome to take home with you. Some stuff.
And I did have a question for you. And your research was done in confinement, buildings with calves.
In the cover.
Yeah, and how do you think these wasp species would do in an outside environment, released in manure and grazing systems and all that?
Good, really good question. What the research that this is based upon studied where do we happen to find different wasp species for biological control. The majority of the information that we got was that Pseudopteryx raptor, that first one, that gold standard one, was really adapted to go into a large area. They liked confinement areas. They did go outside. They liked the wet and moist organic matter in a variety of places, and those are the ones that are endemic to the Northeast region. So you'll find them out on pasture. You'll find them in the loafing areas and outside the barns as well as within. Releasing them out on pasture, I get that question a lot. The predominant species of insects that we deal with out on pasture are horned flies and face flies. The biology is very different. They're going to be actually living in cow pats as opposed to the confinement areas where they're in bedding and things like this. Stable flies, you will find them, of course, around some of the feed drop areas on the pasture. So there is some potential there for controlling the stable flies, not so much on the pasture pests. There's a whole different group of animals, dung beetles being the predominant ones. The other thing that I'd mention about that and the use of parasitoids on pasture types of settings is the face fly is a unique beast in that it has a lot of calcium in its putome stages, which is really difficult for things to chew through compared to a housefly or stable fly. So I think that there's some possibilities there. Would there be a bang for the buck? I don't know. It's a really good question of further research. There are other species of insects that could be helpful there that we could learn a lot more about. But definitely for the confinement areas and around the barns, that would be these wasps would do it pretty easily.
Keith, there's a question. Yes?
I know of anecdotal observations based on certain genetics.
Right.
Certain animals are more covered in flies than others.
Right.
Is there anything you notice with if there's any?
As far as genetics go, not so much. I'm thinking that there are some beef animals that are more resistant. They're not necessarily ones that we would go out and live more.
Yeah.
There are some differences. Individual animals might be more or less vulnerable to it. And I'm thinking predominantly in pastures, where you would also expect hormonal differences. So a bull is going to be more attractive to horned flies and face flies than a cow. An older cow would be susceptible to those as well, and it's a hormonal thing.
I have another question about the parasitoids.
Sure.
So beyond just their direct beneficial effect in the context of flies, what's known about them in terms of are they predatory on other things that might not be beneficial, or do they have nuisance properties that what's sort of the downside of these things, or has it been looked at?
They're pretty specific to what they're looking for. So the ones that I'm most familiar with are going to be houseflies and stable flies, which would be down in the largest concentration, the largest population. So I don't know of them going to other species. They certainly do not bite us. They don't bite the animals. They're really, really tiny. So, a lot of the additional work that I didn't talk about is on quality control for the parasitoids themselves, relative sensitivity to insecticides, the release rates, and things, some of those issues. Raptorellus is not going to move as far away from where it's dropped as raptor.
Are you in here next?
Raptor is more
Okay.
aggressive.
Are you still?
One of the differences that we saw with raptor is that it will attack not only live people that have not been hit, but they'll also attack other things if they happen to be found. So the difference that we saw with lower populations of, or lower fly mortality is that the raptor will attack, a Raptorellus attacked TV already. They're pretty aggressive, but they work, as you saw.
Where's Raptorellus endemic?
Actually, we,